Welcome to a very special episode of Harmonious World, featuring some of the musicians that I met while at Jazzahead in Bremen 2026. And I start with Sahad, who you can hear live now. So hello and welcome to Harmonious World, and I am delighted to be joined at Jazzahead Bremen by Sahad. Hello.
Hello, yes, I'm here, I'm fine, I'm good. Everything's good, yeah.
Excellent. Right. Yeah. Sahad, you're going to be performing here and you're going to be meeting people.
True.
Excellent. So can you tell me, so you've come from Senegal?
Yes, from Senegal.
Tell me a little bit about your background in terms of where your music comes from.
Wow, since a long time, because when I had 11, I started to play music in my house with my siblings, you know, but it was not just for become a musician, it was just for by passion, you just playing like this. And after, slowly, when I was at the university, I decided to make a career of music. Yes, and I already have 4 albums since there. And I started to play in Senegal, in the main city of Dakar, with my friend. We were at the same university, and we were just playing music together. But it was not really serious. And someone saw us playing in my house, and he proposed us to make a big show in the main city of Dakar, and then I accept to make the show. And finally, people like it and love it, and we start to make some show in Dakar, in the main city, around Senegal, and slowly by, you know, time by time, our music become international, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Is this your first time in Bremen?
Yes. No. It's not my first time in Bremen, but it's my first time in Jazzahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, but it's not my first time in Bremen. Yes.
Ah, right. Yeah. Okay. And so you've really got an international reputation now.
Yeah.
How do you think that came about? I mean, what is it about your music? Because I'd like to play some clips of it so that people can understand what it's like. Because it's got really high energy.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So why do you think it's got that international appeal?
Yeah, because I think that my music have a lot of influences from a lot of rhythm, a lot of genre of music, like a lot of kind of music. And for me, it's so important because music make people meet and make imaginary meet.
Right.
You know? And how do you can take all of these experiences and all of these like influences and to make them together. I used to say that so my music is like a fusion of a lot of things, a fusion of culture, a fusion of imaginary, and a fusion of experience, you know. Like, because people, they like to make music in a box, but music don't have to be in a box. You know, music is freedom. And an artist has the liberty to express himself without borders, you know, without borders. And I'm trying to take a lot of about funk, fusion, about jazz field, African rhythm, you know, and try to mix them together. And it's bringing an authentic way of making music, and it's bringing me an authentic sound, you know.
Yeah.
Something really belong to the universal, how can I say it? To the universal, you know, world, you know.
Yeah. What musicians do you have in your band? Who do you like playing with?
Like in my band, we are 6 musicians. Horns, trumpet, and saxophone. I'm playing guitar and I'm singing. There's a bass player and there's a drummer and a keyboard. So, but you know, I don't have like a specific one musician that I love to play, like, because I think that we should all make things together, and every musician is bringing an important things in my music. You know, you know, it's like more. You know, we need to play with this 6 musicians for bring with the things that we are making right now.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
True.
So I could put you in a room with 5 other musicians and you would find something.
Find something. Yeah.
Oh, that is wonderful. That's
Yeah.
really nice. Because you're playing here in
Yes,
Jazzahead.
in Jazzahead, yeah.
What's your set going to be like?
So like it will be really, really interesting and with a lot of energy on stage. Like people have to be really ready to move, ready to, ready to travel with us in all West Africa, in the whole continent.
Yeah.
Because our music is crossing a lot of imaginary and a lot of countries, and people will feel like we are making a summarize of a lot of type of music in Africa.
Right.
Yeah, it will look like this,
Yeah, and bringing those African influences into jazz and a bit of funk and a bit of soul.
Yes, these African influences into jazz. But really, because everybody know that jazz come from the African continent.
Yeah.
With rhythm and melody. And what is interesting, like today we have our own way of making our own reappropriation of what people are saying. Jazz music. What is jazz? It depends of our own identity. It depends of how do we want to define it.
Yeah.
And this is interesting because for me, jazz is in constant evolution.
Yeah.
And we are bringing another identity of the evolution of jazz music.
Yeah. That's deep.
Yeah.
That's really good. So you've had 4 albums out already, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I will point people. I'll put a link in the show notes so that people will be able to find it.
You can find and listen. Yeah, true.
Yeah. And have you got anything new? Are you working on anything new?
I just released 4 months ago, a new album called it African West Station. It's like a radio, a frequency of African people with and they wanna explain how they see the world in African perspective. Because we use in Africa, people are used to say to us how to do, how to think, and how to talk with things. And now with African West Station, is a decolonize. We try to decolonize things happen before, and we try to bring our own perspective of music and with our own narrative. Like African West Station is a radio from 1960 to 2026. And we try to explain what happened between 1960 and 2026 with music, with politics, with cultural and historical influences. Like it's just my new album.
That sounds brilliant. So there's a political and a cultural influence.
Yes, true.
And so you're saying you're being an activist, really,
true, yeah.
Which is using your music for the power of good.
Exactly.
How wonderful. That's brilliant. Well, I'm really looking forward to hearing you play and hearing you sing, because your voice is just amazing.
Thank you.
It's amazing that you found it, that you found that.
Yeah.
Your family must be so proud of you.
Yes, maybe. And it's so important for my family and for Senegal too, for the whole country. Because it's important, like when a musician from West Africa, from South, are coming coming here to Jazzahead, is for also showing a universality of how people from other part of the world are thinking, or are playing music, or how they want to express themselves, and they have a lot of things to say, a lot of things to share with the humanity through music and art. Yeah.
Yeah, you're the new ambassador for Senegal.
Yes, I think that we are a lot of. It's not just me, but there are a lot of musicians and artists from Senegal who are making the same work. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I honestly, it's been such a pleasure.
Thank you for inviting me here. It was a really nice pleasure. Good.
It was such an honour to chat with Sahad, and his music is incredible if you ever get the chance to hear him play. So next up is Hania Derej, who's from Poland and Amsterdam, and she's just an amazing young woman playing the music that she really loves. She's actually going to be in the UK in May. I'm going to try and see her. And here we are chatting in the Jazzahead Conference Centre.
Hey, my name is Hania Derej. I am 21 years old and I am artist, composer, pianist, conductor from Poland. Currently I study in Conservatorium in Amsterdam, where I study jazz composition but also symphonic conducting in Krakow Academy of Music. I released a couple of albums, played few tours in Poland, outside the Poland, and also outside the Europe. For example, in March we were in Mexico and USA. And now we are promoting our new project. It's Hania Derej Trio. There is jazz music with electronic things and neoclassical influences. We are releasing this album in September, but a few days ago there was released a single called Hope, which you can now hear in streaming platforms.
Okay, and what's the album called?
The album is called Don't Look Behind, Always Forward.
And it sounds very positive.
Yeah, it's very optimistic music, a lot of yellow color, if I could describe it in the colors. And I hope that you will also feel joy after listening this music.
Fantastic. I was lucky to be able to interview some of my guests in the Radio Bremen bus outside broadcast recording studio, which was incredible. So big thank you to Radio Bremen and especially Michael, who was my producer and engineer. He was brilliant. So this next conversation is with Santa Hilary, who is from Latvia. I'm joined now by Santa Hilary, from a jazz singer from Latvia. Hello, Santa.
Hi, hey.
Hey, it's really good to have you. Thank you so much for joining me. So I want you to tell me about how you started singing and what music you've released and everything that you can tell me in just a few minutes. But let's start with how you started singing.
Oh, the roots. The roots are the most important. And for me, it was just growing up in a musical family full of classical musicians. So I'm the case that switched genres. I was like singing since I was like 5 years old, and like any kind of genre, to be honest. In ensembles as a kid, later on like choirs. I actually graduated as a choir conductor. So till that moment I was like more like a classical musician. But music in general is like I think for me, I don't want to like separate genres. No. I think it's just music is music. So meanwhile, I was doing that. I had an interest in something different, singing wise. So I don't know how the like cosmos works or just the power of thought. But a big band leader asked me to join to sing. I was around 16 years old, and that changed actually everything about my future. I just heard that huge band behind me. I felt actually my voice as an instrument. That's like just like a singer diva, but like really like I am one of the instruments with like an improvisation with a scatting as well. So starting from then, to be honest, jazz came more and more into my life since, of course, I switched in education level. I went to jazz vocals to a bachelor and master's degree in academy. And the rest is history. I mean, now my life is all about jazz and I really love it.
Yeah, fantastic. And so do you still get the opportunity to sing with big bands from time to time?
Yes, actually, we are one great project coming up, like Tony Bennett tribute show, Tony Bennett's 100th birthday tribute. So with a big band, we will make some great concert series. But actually, to be honest, after I started to go more into the jazz, in a way, I found more interesting the small like bands, like trios, quartets, quintets. There is something very different about it, very much about listening, about details and trusting each other. Big band is a whole machine, you know.
Yeah.
But when you're less people on stage, it's more intimate. And I found it very, very, interesting.
Brilliant. And do you write your own songs, or do you like performing standards, or do you do a mixture? What do you do?
So as every musician, jazz musician, we all start with standards. It's like our ABC to know. But I think sooner or later, every jazz musician meets with a composing. So I released my debut album with my original music in 2023. It's called Other Ways. So very first, my compositions, my first thoughts about the journey in music, about life, to be honest. That's what I write about human and the experience we all can get and reflect to each other. So, but also I think one song in the album wasn't my original one. It was reharmonized Johann Sebastian Bach Prology.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I did a collaboration between Bach, between me, and with Latvian poet Aspasia, which is also very personal to me. She's a female poet and a big figure to look over. So and that's how one of the songs also is like this, not only originals in my debut album.
That's fantastic. I shall definitely put links in the show notes so that people can take a listen. So what have you been doing here at Jazzahead?
I just arrived, to be honest, and this is my 10th year.
Wow.
This is crazy, but to not sounding that serious and complicated, the first 7 years I was working in a stand with my Latvian delegation. I was the part of the stand, people who tell people about Latvia, tell people about the jazz we have here and venues and culture in general.
Yeah.
And since I released my album, I started to feel like I would actually come here to represent myself. So this year, probably meeting new people. This is actually what I love about the place. Of course, much venues and places, but I think the most valuable thing in life is human and how we can connect. So this is what I see Jazz Ahead for me about, to meet new people, to really network, connect, and make the whole music world unite also in the country-wise, Europe and even wider.
Yeah, we're all in there just talking about music, aren't we? While everybody else outside can be arguing about whatever else they like politically.
Yes,
that's fine. Yes. We're just talking about jazz.
Exactly, and meeting new people and new inspiration. I think every year I come back to my home with at least some of really great new colleagues and friends that I stay in touch with, and I think that's very inspirational. So I'm grateful to be here also this year.
Brilliant. You've got the Tony Bennett tribute project you're working on. Are you also working on a new album?
Yes, actually on the way. 3 years have been passed.
Yeah.
So new thoughts in my head. And the first album was 99% in English and one song in Latvian, the one I mentioned with the Bach and Aspasia. So now I'm stepping actually the next decision to actually write an album in Latvian.
Wow.
Because to be honest, there are not a lot of jazz in Latvian, and our language is rare in a way, but it's very beautiful and very, I think, unique sounding. So I feel the will, it's also my destiny. If I'm a jazz singer, at least one album should be in the language that I really am born with. So I have a new collaboration with new poets in Latvia. So this time I won't be writing lyrics, but they are writing poems for me. And it will be quite special reflection, actually, of a generation, because the poets are in the same age as me. So it is very personal in a way.
That sounds amazing. I will definitely review that when that comes out. That sounds really interesting.
Yes. And to be honest, when I went to my first tour 2 years ago with Other Ways, with my debut album, the most people were amazed by the Latvian song from the album. I was thinking, oh no, but you don't understand. No. People
Yeah.
understand everything when it comes to music, and to really communicating the language itself. It doesn't matter, and people love to hear different languages, right? So
yeah.
and that actually was also an inspiration for me to be more brave and actually to write in Latvian. So in 2027, right, it will come out. Now we are working like on arrangements and recordings, so it is a long way. But the first song before this album actually came out a few days ago with my own lyrics. It's called Like a Capsule, like a cup of time, like it's about like reflecting. And so I start to dig into the Latvian, like writing in Latvian, but the collaboration with poets, the album will be out in 2027. But, you know, on my social media, I always share what's coming up. So if anybody's interested, please come to my Instagram page. It's like home for everyone.
Fantastic. And actually, what would be really nice would be to bring that project with you singing in Latvian to the UK, because that would be a really good opportunity for people to hear a different language.
Actually, during the tour, I had a concert in Edinburgh, in Scotland.
Okay. Right.
And people really liked the Latvian song,
There
I
you
remember,
are.
because it's something different.
Yeah.
So I think it's just like the mind game in a way. We are not native speakers, we want to get closer with people with English, but the native Englishes, they're very also interested in, different
definitely.
language and the sound of it. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a real pleasure talking to you, Santa.
Thank you too. Have a nice day and strength these days.
Yeah.
In Jazzahead, you need it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. For this next conversation, I was back in the conference centre, and this time I'm talking to Canadian trumpeter Rachel Therian. Hello, Rachel. Tell me all about yourself.
Okay, so my name is Rachel Therian. I'm a trumpet player, composer, band leader from Montreal, Canada. So I'm French Canadian. I've been living in New York for 13 years and producing a lot of music. I've been producing for my own records. I have 10 records out from a lot of different genre of jazz, improvised music, Latin jazz, and some duo. The last 2 records are duo with piano, trumpet, and I have more records coming out soon as well. But I also produce for other musicians as well, so I love being in studio.
That's fantastic. So what is your music like? What do you think? Where does your music come from?
I grew up in jazz. My first improvisation context was playing music from different diaspora present in Montreal. So I grew up playing Gnawa music from Morocco. I grew up playing West African music from Ivory Coast, from Burkina Faso, and amazing communities that we have in Montreal that always welcome me, probably more than the white male jazz scene at that time. I got lucky to be welcomed by also all the Haitian music scene and Caribbean music scene, and that's how I connected with the Cuban music scene as well. And later on I went to study in Havana at Instituto Superior de Arte in Havana, Cuba, and that's when I started writing music.
Right.
And it's coming back from Cuba that I did my first record in 2010, and since then it's just been what you can find online.
That's fantastic. That's brilliant. So can I write a review of this?
Of course.
Okay. So is that Mi Hogar?
Yeah, it's the name of those 2 records. I have Mi Hogar and Mi Hogar Dos, Mi Hogar Tu.
Right.
Mi Hogar, it means my home in Spanish, but my home, it's really my community for that project, because I've been dreaming of doing those Latin jazz projects since 2009, since
Right.
2008, and I have so many people that I grew with and shared the music and learned the music from in my community since the past 25 years that I had to include as many musicians as possible.
Right.
So on those 2 records, there's more than 25 musicians.
Wow. How
From
amazing.
Cuba, from Venezuela, from Puerto Rico, from a lot of different places, and we recorded the 2 albums in 3 cities, so in Montreal, in Toronto, and in New York City. So it's kind of like involving everyone that I've been
proper
working
melting
with.
pot.
Exactly.
How fantastic. Brilliant. And so what are you working on at the moment? Are you touring?
I'm currently playing a little bit all over the place. I'm going to Tunisia soon to do a new residency with Stambili music with jazz, with musicians from Tunis. So So I'm going there in June, and then I'm playing in Paris, in Germany, in Hungary, and we're planning stuff for Netherlands and Belgium for November, October. So
Wow.
if you follow me on social media, Rachel Therian, or if you look for Rachel Trumpet and then that French name, you'll find me on Instagram. So yeah, I'm working on a lot of touring. What I do mostly is touring and producing. So when I'm not on tour, I'm in studio, and when I'm not in studio, I'm on tour. So I kind of like live in between the suitcase and Havana and Montreal, and yeah.
That's a fantastic life in music, isn't it?
Yes, it's great.
Wow.
I mix travel. I love three things: music, people, and travel. So I mix the three of them.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
talking to me.
much.
That was brilliant. Still in the conference centre, this next chat was with Danish vibes player and film composer Martin Fabricius. I'm here with Martin Fabricius, is that right?
Yeah, Fabricius, yeah.
Okay. And you're a vibes player. I love that. So,
Right.
so tell me why you're here at Jazzahead.
Well, I've been coming here like many times actually since 2016, and I'm here because I always meet people, and I got a few record deals down here, and press and tours and concerts. I never leave empty-handed.
That's fantastic, and I think you have to come with an open mind, don't
Yes,
you?
yes.
About what you're looking for, but also it's about music is all about kind of taking those opportunities when they're presented to you.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about your background.
I'm a vibraphone player, and I studied film scoring at Berklee College of Music in the 90s. I had the vibraphone as my principal instrument. I studied with Ed Sainton and also with Gary Burton, who would choose 2 students a year. Actually, Ed Sainton would choose them, and one day he came and said, Gary, we'll see you now.
Wow.
And so I went to the 5th floor where he was dean of curriculum at the time, and he taught me for a semester, and it was
That's incredible.
it was
I mean,
awesome.
isn't it? I mean, that's
it's lovely.
yeah. We're talking about opportunities.
Yes.
That's a great opportunity.
Just what I have brought mostly is like just that he wanted to pass stuff on to the next generation, and he did it absolutely for free. And it's I get goosebumps when I talk about this. You see,
Yeah.
because I'm a teacher myself also, and
Right.
I think it's beautiful that we
Yeah.
pass things on to the next generation.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. So you've got a new album coming out in
Yeah.
October with
Yeah.
Steve Swallow, which I'm very excited about, and I
Yeah.
will be reviewing nearer the time.
Oh, great! Thank
So
you.
yeah. So tell me how that happened.
Well, I was playing a concert in Southampton in the States, and the budget was okay. So I was like, so can I choose freely? And I could. So I chose to contact Steve Swallow, and he got back to me and said he would love to do it, but he had like a half appointment, like not confirmed appointment with Pat Metheny.
Wow.
And would it be okay if I could wait a month? And he understood, of course, if I could, and I was like, yes, I will wait.
Of course, yeah.
You bet I'll
Yeah.
wait. And so that's
Right.
how that came along. And when the day arrived, we met for a brief rehearsal or sound check actually. Ate some dinner and played 2 sets. And luckily, the sound engineer recorded it. I didn't know, but he pressed record, and
Wow.
yeah.
That's brilliant. I love it when sound engineers take a little bit of the
Yeah.
responsibility.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
So fantastic. Okay, well I'll look forward to reviewing that. And when are you coming to the UK?
Yeah, when am I coming to the UK?
You need to speak to some
Okay.
of our guys, our
Yeah.
festival guys.
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
played like all over the place in Europe. We've been to Asia and Africa and the States,
Right.
but never the UK.
Right. Well,
So-
well, I will make sure that you get something. You've got to
Right.
come over and play for us.
I would love that. Hilary.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Lovely.
Thank
well,
you.
thank you for talking to me, Martin. It's been
Thank
a
you
real
for having
pleasure.
me. Thank you.
Staying in Denmark, my next chat was with Christopher Rosing-Schau. who is the sax player and artist behind the Counterfictionals. Talk to me, Christopher, about the Counterfictionals and also your use of the theremin in jazz, because I find that fascinating.
Yes, I can tell you that I do a lot of music for theater and dance, and normally when I start a process with a choreographer or a theater instructor, we talk about which palette of sounds we should use. And I think maybe 15 years ago, I did the soundtrack for a dance performance called Vanity of Modern Panic, and we talked about which sounds, and she wanted theremin. And I think she wanted it because of the kitschy, maybe the story the instrument has, and also how emotional it is.
Right.
So I bought a theremin to get this sound, and I thought maybe I'll just check it out and play some simple stuff on it, but it turned out it was way too difficult to play for me.
Okay.
So I ended up using samples and a little bit of effects on the theremin for this show. But then when the COVID epidemic came and we got a lot of more time, I thought maybe this is the time for me to take this instrument more seriously.
Yeah.
I started rehearsing, practicing, and soon found out that Lydia Kavina, who lives in Oxford, and who is the grandniece of the inventor.
Oh.
She gives online lessons every Sunday.
Goodness me.
So I joined her class and started every Sunday together with a lot of very different people from all over the world to attend these classes. And it has been a joyride because these people are interesting and fun.
Yeah.
And I consider myself a musician who tries to find my place. Instead of running on the middle field, I try to find like a special place where I can contribute. And being mostly a composer, I thought that my role could be to find a way to use this instrument in jazz, which has not been done very much.
Right.
We have Pamela Strickney, who does mainly experimental stuff, but apart from her, I think there's actually maybe, to my knowledge, no one.
Yeah.
So I started using it in my band, the Counterfictionals, and I've been spending a lot of time thinking about what this instrument can do. And I made a promise to myself when I made this record that I will test out every time I wanted to use the theremin. I would test out whether it was better on theremin, or maybe would sound better on a flute or a melodica. And
right.
So I've been rehearsing, or what do you call it? Researching this sound.
Right. And so you've been using the theremin where you feel it's appropriate, but then
Yes.
if you think it's not the right sound, you're just putting it to one side.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's brilliant. I've never heard of the theremin in any other jazz situations. That's brilliant.
And right now I'm writing a concert for Aarhus Jazz Orchestra, which is the big. We have maybe 2 or 3 professional jazz orchestras in Denmark, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
And they have commissioned a work for big band and theremin that will be performed next year.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Where is that going to be performed?
Around Denmark.
Oh really? You're going to tour it around?
Yeah.
Oh fantastic!
Yeah.
Oh that's brilliant.
And for this we're bringing in Grégoire Blanc, maybe my favorite theremin player.
Okay.
Because even though I play the theremin and I can use it, we needed maybe the next level of for this.
Yeah. Fantastic. Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you so much for talking to me about that.
Yeah.
When Christopher told me about writing that piece, including a theremin, it just sounded so fascinating. So my final guest, we went back into the Radio Bremen bus. This is Sarah Olden, who is a Swedish jazz vocalist. So welcome to Harmonious World. I'm delighted to be joined by Sarah Olden, who has a new album out, Force of Nature, and I think you are a force of nature, Sarah.
Thank you so much, Hilary. Thank you for having me.
That's all right. So you're from Sweden, which is the partner country of Jazzahead this year. And so tell me a little bit about your background. How did you start singing?
Good question. So this is one of my, for the listeners who's not looking at us, of course, at the moment, I'm wearing a dress that's really like a fire. It looks like a fire. And there's a lot of fire in me. And one of the things that is really sparks a lot of passion and also rage in me is the thought of where I started music. So I was 8, and there was the communal cultural school came out with staff to our school that was far out on the countryside, like far out. Very small village. I'm related to everyone in the village, and that's the way it is. And in that school, they came out and offered us these instruments and said, "Who wants to play?" And they don't do it anymore because it's too far out, and that's where I have the rage. But I don't think I would play music if that didn't happen. That I was served by my community and by the politics that was at that time, that was really caring for the fact that everyone should be able to create art and make art and music in society, regardless where you're from or where you grow up or who you are, or what you look like, and so on and so forth. So with that said, I started to play piano when I was 8. I entered the gymnastic hall where they had set up all the instruments that we were going to try in school, and I looked over to the trumpets and the saxophones, and I really wanted to go there, and I really wanted to play them, but I hadn't seen anyone who looked like me who held those instruments or played them, so I didn't go up there. I went to the instrument that I knew and that I'd seen before, which was the piano. So I started to play piano. And then from that, I kept on playing, and I started also singing at the classes of piano, and then I started taking singing classes. And at the singing classes, I also got recruited to a youth big band when I was 12. And then I started doing big band for 9 years or something. So I'm like a core big band vocalist, actually.
Ah, that's interesting. That's really interesting. And I love what you were saying there about you hadn't seen anybody who looked like you playing a saxophone or whatever. And I think that's a big issue. And I think that's why we need so many kind of role models of all different types of people and, different ages and colours and everything.
Yeah.
Just complete diversity. And I think we need that so that young children who maybe have that opportunity can pick up a flute or a saxophone or a trumpet or a trombone or something.
Yeah, and feel belonging and feeling like it's there to at least try.
Yeah. Isn't this wonderful, by the way? In the background, we can hear somebody sound checking. It's just, that's one of the nice things about this, about Jazzahead is that there's sort of music around and it's just lovely.
Yeah, it's all about the music.
Yes. Now, you had some big news, didn't you? Because you won a Swedish Grammy.
Yes, I did, yeah.
So which category did you win?
Jazz of the Year.
Right.
Yeah,
Wow.
Jazz Album of the Year. So,
Wow, that's huge.
It's humongous. Yeah, and it's my debut album also. So it's quite fancy pants, to be honest. I'm not gonna digest this until my dying days, and that's fine. But it's really an honor, actually. I've had many bands before this, and I started my own career with my own name in 2020, and I started it by making an EP, like a small CD, which was a lot about creating a space for myself as a woman in jazz also. The EP is called A Room of One's Own, so it's an homage to Virginia Woolf and just the thought of having carve out a place for yourself on your own terms and conditions, because like I said, with the big band I had amazing experiences in the big band scene, but it was also extremely male-dominated space, and also elderly men, really old men. And I was 12, and it was really I was learning so much about social codes back then, and they were not really skilled, to be honest, when it came to social codes. No. And also the fact that there was a lot of expectations for me as a 12 or 13 or 14-year-old to have the experience of an old jazz vocalist, which was also a really strange space for me to be in. And there was this expectations of me of singing a certain way. So, and then after that, I went into military service, which was also very male-dominated space. So, with that said, I had all these thoughts and digestions when it came to who am I in this? And when I then moved into jazz again and wanted to be in jazz again, I really had this urge to unlearn what I had learned in jazz and then start over. And that was the EP, A Room of One's Own. And after that, I moved into the Grammy Award-winning album that was called There's No Future, which became a second part in a trilogy that I'm now have released, a full trilogy, and There Is No Future. That Grammy album it was produced post-pandemic and Ukraine war and Trump was really the topics, and also a lot about climate change and who has the responsibility and where are we going.
Yeah.
So that was the album that resonated with many people and got the award.
Yeah, well, that's really amazing, and I think it's kind of okay now. And in fact, if anything, it's almost expected that you take a position on something. It doesn't matter but your opinions as a musician. Nobody now is saying get back in your box, just be a musician.
No.
People are saying that's okay.
Express yourself.
Yeah. Oh well, fantastic. And you absolutely are a force of nature.
Thank you.
One of the things that my listeners won't know is that you have spent the last 3 days walking around the whole of this. It's a fairly big site, and I've seen you every day, sort of every hour I've seen you walking around with your CDs and talking to people. And I think that's an amazing thing, because I think you're not afraid to promote yourself. You're proud of what you do, and I think that's absolutely right. And that's often a male characteristic that we think of, and women tend to be a little bit more kind of stand in the background, and you're not doing that. You are an absolute force of nature. So well done.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy that you see that. It's a lot of work, and it takes a lot of build up. Like I prepare to go here to this place every year, and I try to make it my own, and I want to, just like the album that you're talking about, also the Force of Nature album, which is the third part of the trilogy, and like the final part is really about connecting, and about like I said, there is no future. That album is really dark and really questioning and saying, what world are we supposed to have? What world is there if we don't create it? Because I see so much, and I guess it's the times, and I guess it's like we're like this as a species, that it goes in circle and it goes up and it goes down and as waves. I understand that, but it's very depressing in one way to be in a time where I see that we are regressing in so many ways. We're going backwards in how we are as like people, it's going forward in technology and all that's all that jazz, that's also nice, but I'm just thinking about a lot of the things that I'm also having a lot of rage and fire about is non-profit organizations, because Sweden is built on them. The politics that we are today very proud over and very known for, like the equality work, the parental leave for dads, all of those things and also the music industry, those three things are things that people in Sweden are super proud of from an international point of view, and that we're really taking a lot of pride in and accountability and brag about. And when we look at the statistics, it's going pear-shaped, it's going really bad.
Right.
And if you look at the history, it was the Cold War. It was a lot of tension in the world, and then we came into the 70s. And what people had to do was engage and gather in non-profit organizations and they had to organize, and without any benefits or any money involved. And with that said, that connected people and made people connect through passion and through emotions. And that also then, because people united and organized, it affected the politics. And then in the 70s, we had huge change in politics when it came to parental leave and the foundations for all the amazing statistics that we have about equality work comes from the decisions made from the time that was decisions were made after all this work from individuals in non-profit organizations. And also 1974, there was a big cultural reform in Sweden, which just pumped in money into the cultural schools that we are now not doing anything with. We are just draining and draining. We're not so putting any seeds in the soil that we are constantly harvesting from right now. Sweden is a huge music industry. We benefit so much money-wise from the music industry because of all the hard work and all the money that went into the cultural schools in this time. And now there are no money going into it. So you hear I get political straight away. I can't help it. But I see that we need to work together, and that's why I needed to make this album about force of nature, about the force that we have within us as human species, that we are connected in the roots, like we have no choice but to join each other in also like both power but also the weakness, and finding strength in that we're all weak and need each other. And it's like, as it is now, I see so many things, politics in Sweden, there are like there are so many decisions made out of fear and not based on the fact that we need each other, because we see that like there's so many decisions taking away money from people who might fall ill or might need support or anything like that. And I just want to create a piece, an art piece that manifests the opposite, and like sort of creates a future that I see, that I know that we have within us, and that is this album, Force of Nature.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Well, that's a perfect way to finish this. So thank you so much for joining me, Sarah. It's been a real pleasure. And it's been lovely to see you around the exhibition as well.
The same to you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So obviously I'm back home in the UK now after a very busy few days at Bremen with jazzahead. And in the background you can hear the Jasmine Myra sound check, which Michael kindly kept recording for me. I hope you enjoyed those snippets of musicians from around the world and what they're doing. You can see there's a lot of jazz going on that's really extraordinary. If you follow the links in the show notes, you'll see exactly what some of these guys are up to. And hopefully that'll give you some new music to listen to. There will be reviews on my website of some of those CDs and others that I picked up over the week in Bremen. So, wishing you a very, very good week, and let's hope we can all make this world a little more harmonious. Thank you for listening to the latest episode of Harmonious World. My name is Hilary Seabrook, and it's a great delight to bring this series of discussions with musicians and composers and writers and all sorts of people to you. Obviously, there's no point in having a podcast if people aren't listening, and I'm very grateful to my listeners for doing so. Thanks also to Joe English for composing and performing this new theme tune. So wherever you get your podcast, you can leave a review. You can share this with your friends and family, either as a link or on social media and that sort of thing. I'd be really grateful for that. Don't forget that you can subscribe now. There's a link wherever you get your podcasts. So have a great week, and please remember why I started this, which is just to try and make the world a little more harmonious. Thanks for listening to Harmonious World.